O'Reilly. Are your wiper blades chattering, skipping, or squeaking? Don't let streaks or smearing on your windshield compromise your visibility. When it's time to replace your wiper blades, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and see our selection. Our professional parts people will even install your new wiper blades while you wait. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You ever get that feeling the walls closing in, the concrete jungle suffocating you? You crave some wide open spaces, the chance to connect with nature, maybe in a spot all your own. Well, head over to land.com. They've got ranches, forests, mountains, streams, you name it. Search by acreage. You can search by location. You can search by the kind of hunting and fishing you're dreaming of. Land.com. It is where the adventure begins. There's nothing like snook hook sets at dawn or catching a tarpon in the moonlight. Find your next fishing trip made easy on fishingbooker.com and experience the magic of the Sunshine State or any other destination on your fishing bucket list. Book a blue water adventure in search of sailfish or go snapper fishing with the kids. With over 6,000 captains and trips to choose from, planning your next one just got a whole lot easier. Download the Fishing Booker app on the Google Play or App Store, or visit them online at fishingbooker.com to book your trip today.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Hunting Collective. I'm Ben O'Brien, as always. Never get tired of saying that. I'm Ben O'Brien. And today, we're at the Meat Eater offices here in Bozeman, Montana. And I'm joined by Sam Lundgren. Also joined by Giannis Patelis. And also Ryan Callahan. All three gentlemen have appeared on this program before. All three gentlemen work with me here at Meat Eater. So this is a little bit of an editorial meeting of sorts, where we're going to break out our fancy spanking brand new hunting scandal assessment chart. There was a happening in the news here. We felt the need to address it. Hopefully, in addressing it, we've uncovered some of the issues around the media, around hunting, and around hunting, how hunting, trophy hunting specifically, is portrayed, and given you some perspective on that. Again, we don't have all. This is one of those deals where we don't have all the details on some of the more intricate parts of this scandal, but we want to cover the fact that it happened and how it was covered and what we think it means. And you'll be certainly can check for more from our platform about this thing. But without further ado, please enjoy these three gentlemen discussing the hunting scandal assessment chart. Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm talking to the three of you sitting at the table.
Oh, not the listeners.
Not the listeners.
Feeling a little too stuffed after 2 pieces of birthday cake.
You got
That's
two
true.
pieces?
That's
Well,
true.
sugar tooth, Yanni. I'd be napping.
Nappy. It's Steven Ranella's birthday today.
It is.
He's 45? 45 years old.
Big 45.
So said the candles on the cake.
Halfway to 90.
Yeah, halfway to 90, which is a good thing or a bad thing, depending on who you are.
Does Steve have an age goal or an expectancy?
A life expectancy for a meat eater?
Yeah, have you talked about that?
Have you talked
Giannis?
to Yanni?
It's somewhere up around there, somewhere between 80 and 90. I think he feels like he's halfway there.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, if I make it to 80, I may consider just walking out in the woods. Then
Man, my grandma, she's going for well over 100. She's 90 right now. And she's just like, I feel the best I have in 20 years. I'm doing great. It's amazing.
all right, let me ask you a question. Does she drink alcohol?
Yeah.
Does she smoke?
Nope.
Has she ever smoked?
Everybody smoked back
then.
in her day.
Yeah,
and
back
she
then.
was an army wife, a nurse, and like the smoke was intense.
Yeah, my grandmother was 93 when she died. My
Wow.
grandfather was 89, around 90 when he died. So I was always trying to figure out what the secret was. Never did figure it out, though.
Yeah. And, you know, I think your capacity for drink goes way down. Like, grandma likes to have, like, a glass of champagne on special occasions.
They call it a little nip.
Yeah,
That's
she
what
likes
it is.
little glass beer with certain meals. She's like, oh, I gotta have a beer with this. Glass of wine, stuff like that.
My grandma likes to have a glass of white wine with ice cubes in it.
Yeah, do whatever you want.
Yeah, my grandmother she would smoke like a cigarette in the morning. She would go out onto, there's a little cup I found one time on her porch where she would go out, the same little cup, smoke and ash into the cup, and then put her cigarette out in the cup, and then once in a while wash out the cup. But it was her that was her tradition. She lived to be 93, so
Routines, maybe something to be said for
Yeah.
routines.
something to be said
Maybe you
for
should pick up smoking.
Yeah, one a day keeps the doctor. No, that can't be it because of the tar in your lungs. Can't be it.
Yeah, there's a lot of studies out there that I guess I shouldn't just blanketly say studies.
There's a lot of studies out there.
So, anyways, Steve's halfway dead.
Steve's halfway dead. Do we feel like he's lived a good life to this point, or what do we?
That is funny to say though. Like, yeah. So, have you heard about Ranella? He's halfway dead.
Yeah.
Looks great though.
When you see him, give him a hug.
He looks great.
He seems chipper about
Yeah,
the whole affair.
He was able to blow out all those candles all by himself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Didn't even
45
pass
of 'em.
out. Yeah.
No.
Well, I'm proud of him. Well, we're here to undertake a difficult task or achieve an outcome that will be difficult, is to determine for the hunting world what a scandal is, whether a certain social media or news incident is a scandal, and then assess what the outcome of the scandal should be for the folks involved in it. Cal, you want to kind of can you try to give us a brief history of the hunting scandal on the internet and what that is in your eyes?
Not this one in particular.
Not this one in particular. We'll talk about this one in particular.
Scandals in general.
Yeah, do you remember? I gave you no time to prep for this, but do you remember the first time that you heard about a hunter killed an animal legally, and then there was outrage?
The one that really blew up was Kendall Jones. I think her name was. She was I think she was in college at the time, and a Texas blonde, and she went on a safari, I think, with her dad.
Yes, with her dad. Yeah.
And she had her pictures up on social media, and people just viciously attacked her. And,
I think it was the giraffe one specifically that really
it
got
was
under
a
people's
giraffe.
skin.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. But, all, legal activity in a different country. And I never really got into the details there, but that was my first, I'll be damned. So basically, I think if you could really succinctly say it, a hunting scandal is when a hunter or a hunting situation makes it into the national news, or sometimes beyond national news, and is, I guess, the situation is judged by the general public.
Yes. Yanni, you want to take a crack at it? How would you define the modern hunting scandal?
Yeah, I think that's about it. Someone posts a picture innocently enough, and someone else takes it and twists it around, or takes it out of context, puts it in their own little context, and then turns it into something that's not. Scandal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of gets used to
But now-
promote the anti-hunting ideology.
Yeah.
It's kind of taken as a case study for why hunters are shitheads and why hunting should be illegal.
sometimes we do see people, hunters doing some stupid shit though.
Yes,
And
exactly.
that become scandals.
Yep.
That was interesting that you mentioned that it's something that's done legally usually, because you're right. Like poaching cases, they never get any headlines.
There was that Operation North Shore we've been talking about out of
North
Ohio.
Coast.
North
Yeah.
Coast.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that covered on CNN. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I missed it.
No.
But I haven't seen it. It hasn't come back to me in that way. It's something that I think the state of the Ohio folks would love to see reported on more.
Should be celebrated.
Yeah, should be celebrated, the work that was done there by officials.
And therein
in Ohio.
lies the rub, right? If everybody agrees, then it's not news. It's like, well, everybody doesn't like these guys.
Yeah.
So we're not going to get a bunch of clicks on that.
That's a good point. I remember, I feel like I was working at Peterson's Hunting Magazine the first time we came across one of these scandals, and it was Melissa Bachman, host of a television show on, I believe it would be with the Sportsman Channel or the Outdoor Channel. I believe Sportsman's back then. I'm looking at the article I wrote now. It was in 2013 that I wrote an article called "The Truth About Lions: Melissa Bachman and the Anti-Hunting Agenda." Not saying I'm very proud of this piece. It's got some facts in there, but it also has some hyperbole and rhetoric that I have since learned not to include in such pieces. But I have been, for probably my whole professional career in the hunting space, dealing with or talking about these types of situations where someone. And the other one that I wrote about after this was Corey Knowlton and his rhino, where, there almost always are death threats involved. I'm sure the gentleman we're about to talk about has already received some. And the death threats are coming from the folks that are anti-hunting or animal rights, who don't like killing.
Anti-hunting or pro-animal rights?
Pro-animal
Extreme
rights.
animal rights.
Not pro-animal rights. That's that, they say animals are sentient beings and deserve to live, yet the folks killing them deserve to die. Always a fun,
Weird irony in there. Yeah.
a fun irony to go through.
Pro-animal rights, anti-human rights.
Yeah, and I would say, like, I've found recently, like, these things are just, in my opinion, they're a little bit just misdirection. Like, these folks are sensationalizing something that plays to a narrative that's already had success, as you said, Cal. Like, this is something that these guys know will get clicked on, they know will get shared. This narrative is easy to tie into pop culture. It's easy for celebrities to pick up. It's
no different than posting a picture of a puppy on your Instagram feed.
You're sure that's
Party
going
is
to get...
like, yeah, I bet people will like. Something tells me.
Something tells me people are going to like this one. And I think that's, of course, what happens here.
Pupsploitation.
And this term, lionsploitation.
It's interesting. Speaking of lions, it hasn't turned into a scandal, but recently my newsfeed is just crammed full of mountain lion stories.
Mm-hmm.
Mountain lions mixing it up
Cats
with humans.
everywhere. Do you see ocelot today?
Yeah, that was an ocelot today.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
I didn't catch that one.
Yeah, they
But-
got another ocelot on trail cam in Arizona. Came in from right where we were, Sonora.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
They have a jaguar do that every now and then.
I think he got whacked.
Did he?
Yeah, by a vehicle. Yeah, El Jefe. What do they name? They named the
That was
jaguar.
the name.
But they got
The boss.
The boss.
5 ocelot in the last 10 years on trail cams in Arizona. Pretty wild. Yeah, but the cat thing, it does seem, even though on the Chinese calendar it's the year of the pig, we seem to be in the year of the cat because there are a lot of cat stories going on.
Of the cat. But and also the thing about these scandals that we continue to see is it seems like the hunting world is becoming so numb to them that within our community it's not a deal. Like, it's less that we feel like we have to defend it. We're like, oh, another one? Really? Okay, we'll go about our day. I'm going to finish eating my sandwich. Like, I don't see a bunch of people in the hunting community calling for reform over legal hunting that has caused these things. I think as hunters, we've kind of just, because it's been happening, for a decade.
Well, yeah, it exists in a weird space because most of these scandals we see are coming from extremely high dollar international travel hunting, which 99.9% of American hunters will never engage in. It's just not even something that's on people's minds. And so I feel like at this point, most people are just treated as like, well, I don't know. I'm probably not going to hunt Africa. I don't really care one way or the other.
Well, and there's also, I feel like, some kind of trick in it that, now here we are sitting around talking about, possible, trophy hunting and examining. Of course, that's we want to examine tough issues, but here we are diverted from, we're essentially in the Meat Eater newsroom here, or the editorial space, and we're diverted from talking about important bills, that are supporting public lands and looking at cases like Herrera v. Wyoming and looking at the flyway and looking at fisheries and looking at conservation issues across the country. We're now pulled away into, in this case, Pakistan, to examine something we really know nothing about. I have friends that have been there and talked to folks about hunting in Pakistan, Tajikistan, and some of the places in that area of the world, but I don't really know anything about it. I've never been there. I can imagine what it might be like, but I just don't know. So we're pulled, I feel like we're pulled enough to at least address it in some short way. And but man, strange times, Cal.
Strange times is right. I mean, definitely important to note that folks have been paying large sums of money to go to these exact areas that we're talking about today for hundreds of years, specifically to hunt.
Yeah. Yep.
But I guess to Sam's point, also, it's like we have as a category here on our hunting scandal assessment chart, the to what extent was the individual animal known to the public chart.
I've got an interesting.
Man, we should add a field on species. I mean, I imagine a lot of people who are upset about this have never heard of a markhor prior to reading the CNN story.
99.999%. And hunters are some of the only ones that are aware of the markhor.
Well, to what extent do Americans generally recognize this species as a lovable creature?
It's going to be a low.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
but I mean, do we...
Let's quickly
explain
what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
So we have at Meat Eater created under the watchful eye of one Stephen Ranella what we're calling the hunting scandal assessment chart, and it's a tool to help us reason these very confusing quote unquote scandals and determine whether they're really worth a shit or not. Whether we should be worrying about them or not, and whether there's any existential crises to address. But we have a little paragraph describing what we do here for the folks that might end up using it, and it goes a little bit like this. I think Sam wrote this, correct?
I did.
It seems that every couple of months, the animal rights activists of America rain hell down on some unsuspecting hunter over perceived wrongness of a kill. As an editorial team, we often have a difficult time finding the right way to respond to these blow-ups. So we decided to create this form as a way to separate the bullshit from actual hunter wrongdoing. Please feel free to print this out and use with your friends next time some movie star declares a social media crusade against one of our fellow hunters. Well done, Sam.
So this is available online?
It will be. It will be available online. We're going to put it online, available for folks to print out and use as they wish. There's some tongue-in-cheek here. Our tongues are firmly planted in our cheeks, as you can tell by the writing there. But there's also some, there's the reality that this is necessary in some way for us to determine like what really matters in these situations. Again, I think most hunters are just generally apathetic and annoyed by what's happening here, but I get I don't know about you guys, but when something like this happens, I get more like non-hunters, like my mom will call or someone will call and say, I heard somebody shot a giraffe. What's up with that? And they ask me to explain it. So at the very least, if it's on CNN.com or Fox News, it's being read by a lot of people. So we can at least recognize that, as annoying as it may be. It's something to recognize. So Sam, you want to kind of run through the first 6 lines there?
But hold on, have we done a good enough job of explaining what today's scandal is?
Well,
We'll get there.
Oh, we will.
We're gonna
do this first.
We're going to run through this and set it up.
then come back and fill it out.
And we're going to all fill it out together and determine where we are. Sam, you want to run through kind of the first details?
The first few fields are what happened, location, species, etc., who was involved, ... and were they being a dumbass? Does this involve famous people? Was the activity legal? How did the photo get out there? What caused the controversy to gain momentum?
So that's what we would fill out for. So let's fill this out for our current happening, and put down our answers. What happened? Well, what happened?
An American paid $110,000 to shoot a markhor in Pakistan.
He sure did. This gentleman's name was Brian Kinsel Harlan. He's a Dallas banking executive. He paid what was a record for a permit, of which there are very few given out. This one says in this specific conservancy there are 3 given out, and this is what I'm reading a little bit from a paper called Dawn Paper out of Pakistan.
And 2 other Americans got those tags this year for very similar prices, one for $100,000 and one for $105,000.
So it's very conspicuously going up by $5,000 per animal.
And both of those tags were filled within the last 3 weeks.
Yep.
But those 2 did not generate this level of shitstorm for whatever reason.
Okay, so location is where's the area?
They flew under the radar.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is in Pakistan, the Sassi village of. Say all this stuff wrong, so I apologize to anyone who knows how to pronounce these. Gilgit, 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 however you would say that.
And the species is markhor, and markhor is a type of goat.
Yes, it's type
Yes,
of goat
also known as
species.
the screwhorn goat.
Yep.
Excellent.
And that derives from the Persian words mar, meaning snake, and kor, meaning eater.
Snake
Eater.
Mr. Harlan shot a 41-inch markhor trophy, which is considered a nice markhor, of course.
And Mr. Harlan is a banker in Dallas.
He's a banker in Dallas. So he was involved. He has, to my knowledge, is not notable in any way other than what we've described. So he's a banker. He's obviously well off, and he lives in Dallas. He has hunted in Pakistan 2 other times that we're aware of. Again, we may get interrupted in this podcast by a gentleman that helped set this hunt up, or a few of his hunts up. So if that happens, I'll just put him on speaker to answer some of our questions. But I will follow up in an article, or maybe an addendum to the podcast, some details from this gentleman named Greg Brownlee, who is part of Neal and Brownlee, that LLC. They booked some of the hunts for Mr. Harlan in the past in Pakistan. So,
and as far as the knowledge that we have on the table right now and about the hunter, we can say that we do not think, or I do not think he's a dumbass as far as from what I've seen.
Nope.
Can I interrupt? Because I'm still feeling like we're getting too far ahead of ourselves, because I don't even know that this is a scandal yet.
It's that's what we're here to decide.
Yeah.
That's kind of what this assessment.
Well, I know,
chart is
but
built for.
we are doing this because someone else is making it or saying that it is.
Yeah, I
a
mean,
scandal, correct?
this is been on CNN. It's been on major news outlets. It's something that's needs to be addressed. Once it rises to level of national news,
Right, for sure. But the national news didn't describe it the way that you just described it, I don't believe.
Well, that's what we're trying to accomplish with this chart, is whether there's, was a bad idea and that person should walk away from hunting, or if there's nothing to see here.
Yeah.
Wasn't the one headline like Hunter raises?
Yeah, let me read you a few. Read you a few headlines. Trophy CNN.com. Trophy hunter pays $110,000 to kill and pose with rare mountain goat. In it is quoted. They quoted PETA. U.S. trophy hunter paid $110,000 to kill a rare mountain goat in Pakistan. That's Washington Post. And then The Hill, American trophy hunter paid $110,000 to kill a rare mountain goat in Pakistan. In the CNN piece, they reference a few things that make it, in my opinion, rather scandalous. I'll get to that here in a moment. I'll scroll down. Goats are gentle individuals, not trophies, animal rights group PETA wrote on Twitter, while some Pakistanis called for a ban on hunting such animals. And in the past, these types of quote-unquote scandals have ended in hunting changes in the places, like Scotland, Canada, different places where these scandals have come from. They change hunting laws and regulations just based on these, situations that get spun up. So they're definitely, Yanni, to answer your question, they're definitely not reporting on it in
but they're
a shining light.
They're mad because it's a rare animal.
Rare, like if you break down the CNN headline, again, there's so much factual.
I think our job here is, like just Sam just said, is to, in the end, to say, well, is this something to worry about or not?
In the hunting community, are they?
But like we also said that the other two goats that were killed, the same goats in the last 3 weeks, nobody said anything, and we didn't either. We didn't talk about it. So obviously, it's already a scandal, and I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows why.
Yes, it's been covered. Yeah, you're right. It's been covered in all these major news outlets, and they're not covering it in a pro hunting way. Trophy hunter pays $110,000 to kill and pose with rare mountain goat. I mean, they're like, if you were to break that headline down, leading with trophy hunter is that word has been obviously weaponized in this format and is being used like that in this title. Why is it relevant that he paid $110,000? Like, why is that relevant in this case?
And why is the posing relevant?
Yeah, and my next question was, why is posing? It makes it seem like the only reason he went over there and shot the thing was to kill it and to get a picture with it to show his friends. With rare mountain goat.
I think that is what they're trying to get at.
Yeah, and so they're assigning motive to this dude. Without interviewing him, talking to somebody from the Conservancy in which he shot it, talking to the person that booked it. In fact, like I said, I got an upcoming interview with the person that helped book this hunt and hunts like it, and it took me about 20 minutes to figure it out. It's not hard. I mean, so obviously here there wasn't a whole lot of investigative work done. They just picked up, here's a photo, here's a rich guy with slick back hair that looks the part of the evil, Caucasian trophy hunter, and here's an animal that is truly, it is a rare animal around the world. These things aren't running around everywhere. So I think that's where this all kind of stems from. Does that cover it?
I think so. Gal, you up to speed with the scandal?
Yes, sir.
You feeling comfortable?
Yeah, I mean, I'm fairly certain I know what the outcome's going to be here, but
me too.
Yes,
me too.
I think I don't know. Are you feeling, Giannis? Are you skeptical on is your skepticism here because you don't want to put any more attention on something that you do not feel warrants attention?
No. The only thing I was skeptical about is I just want to make sure that the people listening understand what we're talking about.
Okay, great. Yep.
I think we're there. I think people could probably get a good understanding of where we are. We have also, was the activity legal? Absolutely. Without question, legal. I've read a couple of articles from different sources that use the term poaching when describing killing this animal. That is factually incorrect. He did not poach it. He killed it legally. He hunted it and killed it legally. There's no doubt about that. How did the photo get out there? It was shared on the internet by the hunter, and I saw a few shared by Neal and Brownlee that were, again, the booking agency that guy used to go over there and go hunting. What caused the controversy to gain momentum? We've kind of already covered that. It was picked up by news outlets, and again, it's an easy mark for this kind of scandal generation. And I was talking with Ranella earlier, and he's, why is it that like Donald Trump Jr. is the face of this? Why is he the face of, in a lot of circles, like the face of the rich white trophy hunter that travels across the world and kills things for high dollars?
O'Reilly Auto Parts are in the business of keeping your car on the road. O'Reilly Auto Parts offer friendly, helpful service and the parts knowledge you need for all your maintenance and repairs. If you're confused about what part you need, like what wipers are going to be the best, what replacement headlights are going to be the best, go into O'Reilly and talk to the people that work there, because they're great and they're super friendly, and they'll get you squared away where you walk out knowing you got the right thing. They've got thousands of parts and accessories in stock, either in-store or online, so you never have to worry if you're in a jam. Do you need your windshield wipers replaced? You need a brake light fixed? You need some quick service? They'll help you find the right part or point you to the nearest local repair shop for help. The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts are your one-stop shop for all things auto do-it-yourself, and you can find what you need in-store or online. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit us at O'ReillyAuto.com/MeatEater. That's O'ReillyAuto.com/MeatEater. You ever get that feeling you're stuck inside staring at screens and a primal urge kicks in? You crave wide open spaces, fresh air, the chance to connect with the land. Well, maybe it's time to find your own piece of the wild, but searching for property can be a maze. That's where Land.com comes in. They got millions of listings across the country, from mountain ranches to hidden fishing holes. Their search tools are like a seasoned guide helping you narrow down what you want. Land.com isn't just about buying and selling. It's about finding a place to hunt, fish, explore, or simply sit by a campfire and listen to the crickets. So head over to Land.com today to turn one day into today, because trust me, there's nothing quite like the feeling of standing on your own piece of earth. There's nothing like snook hook sets at dawn or catching a tarpon in the moonlight. Find your next fishing trip made easy on fishingbooker.com and experience the magic of the Sunshine State or any other destination on your fishing bucket list. Book a blue water adventure in search of sailfish or go snapper fishing with the kids. With over 6,000 captains and trips to choose from, planning your next one just got a whole lot easier. Download the Fishing Booker app on the Google Play or App Store, or visit them online at fishingbooker.com to book your trip today.
Like, why?
That face just says trophy.
But I mean, there's a certain aesthetic for the. It seems like young females and rich white dudes with slick back hair are targeted in these ways. It seems like females get a lot. The treatment of it. Young lady is a lot more harsh than just a regular hunter.
Might have something to do too if those people are more apt to post this stuff on the old internet.
Yeah.
Because maybe other groups that, let's say, young black males that also go over there and do some hunting that are well off, don't post. Or maybe elderly white females. I don't know. But whoever it is.
Looking at the demographics.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't post, then it never gets out there.
Well, this requires a photo. This requires what we'll call a grip and grin. Requires a trophy photo. That's like the main deal here. If there isn't one of those, it never happened. In this case, there is a video as well of it. So I guess that's how the controversy gained momentum. So everybody feel like we've covered like what we're talking about here to a degree. Sam, do you find any other facts out there you want to share around Markhor or hunting in Pakistan or anything like that?
So it checks the box. Sorry. What caused controversy to gain momentum? To our earlier definition of hunting scandal, it was this hunting story and picture were picked up by national and international news outlets.
Yes. Yep. And that includes the Washington Post, The Hill, and CNN, among others. All very well-read publications. in their own right. So yes, national news would qualify for this one. Whether that's, whether we'll decide or try to decide whether it is worthy of that kind of coverage.
Yeah, only thing I found was that the province of Gilgit-Baltistan.
Again, apologize for our mispronunciations, folks.
Yeah, I'm sure that was awful.
Cut us some slack.
They auctioned off these permits for the rare animals, starting the bidding at $100,000 for markhor, $8,000 for blue sheep, and $100,000 for ibex.
Yep.
And we also found that 80% of those tag fees go to economic development in the rural communities where the hunting happens, and 20% goes to the wildlife department.
Okay. That's pretty good. Again, I would just reiterate that part of the issue with these scandals is they have, a lot of times they happen in faraway places with different socioeconomic structures to ours. And like I said, people sitting at this table, none of us have been to Pakistan, at least that I'm aware of. None of us have hunted markhor of any subspecies. So it's just, it becomes hard.
And you can kind of commiserate with that on some level. I've had this conversation with a lot of people. Whenever people try to go on a diatribe about trophy hunting, I'm always like, what do you mean by that? What does that mean to you? Africa always comes into the definition. And I'm sure people would like to throw Pakistan in there as well. But a lot of folks like to say, why do you need to travel over there to go kill this rare animal? What drives that? And people just really question the motive of the hunter more so than they do with, down home hunting here in the United States.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, we're not looking at this, pragmatically. Like, what purpose did it serve? We're not looking at it like that. We're looking at it like, basically the scandal comes down to, is this fella an asshole or not? And is what he's, undertaken here something an asshole would do? Is pretty much what we end up looking at in these deals. We got, what's happening over there? Sam's dog Moose is laying on a bear rug inside the podcast studio.
Being kind of adorable doing it.
Very
so
content.
We'll take a quick break here to take some photos for the internet. Hopefully we don't
Cause a scandal.
Cause a scandal of any kind.
So the first, are we ready to do our scalable questions?
Yeah, so let's I found, just because I think we should consider the other side of things, I found the PETA article referencing this deal. It's a very short, well, no, it's not. But this is from PETA.org. Another rare animal killed by wealthy American trophy hunter, by Michelle Kretzer. She says another member of an endangered species, not true, has died at the hands of a wealthy American trophy hunter. This time, the victim was a rare Astor markhor, mountain goat, the national animal of Pakistan. Texas trophy hunter Brian Kinzel Harlan paid $110,000 to gun down the animal, who had been sitting calmly next to one of his companions in Pakistan's northern Himalayan region.
Calmly. He shouldn't have done it because the animal's calm.
Well, only shoot them if they're worked up. Harlan can be seen posing next to the dead animal in a now widely shared photo. Harlan was quick to spout the hunter's favorite line about conservation, but killing an animal to conserve the species is as useful as selling cigarettes to cure lung cancer. As of 2011, there were only about 2,500 markhors remaining in the region. There are likely even fewer now.
Which is
again false. There's twice as many now. And more than twice as many.
The International Union for Conservation of Nature places the number at 5,754 mature animals in the wild.
Yep.
Which is much more than 10 years ago.
This is just, they are threatened by deforestation, military activities, and poaching, in addition to trophy hunters. So it's a widespread problem. If Harlan was genuinely interested in conservation of the species, he would spend his $110,000 to help secure a protected sanctuary for the animals, not blast them away for pleasure. As reported by CNN, trophy hunting's purported economic benefits to surrounding communities have been found to be exaggerated or practically non-existent. And while the vast majority of Americans oppose trophy hunting, most are interested in ecotourism and the chance to view wild animals in their natural habitats. Activities which do benefit the animal and the community, unlike trophy hunting. It's time to stop trophy hunters and protect endangered wildlife. Tell UPS to stop shipping hunters trophies for them immediately. And then there's a link to write a letter to UPS.
That's going to fix it.
To get them to stop the shipping of a trophy hunting. So anyway, that was my reading of a PETA article. All right.
That's a good tactic, though.
Yeah. Well, that's a good. If we were trying to stop something we didn't like, that'd probably be one thing that we might try to do. There's a lot in there to cut up, but again, this is not. None of this is new. All we've done is it's like Mad Libs. All we've done is change the characters in the play. Like it's if it wasn't Harlan, it would have been someone else, and if it wasn't $110,000 in a Markhor, it would have been $50,000 in a rhino. $50,000 in an elephant. It doesn't really matter. The facts don't seem to matter here. They've taken a number from 2011 that makes it seem like there's less Markhor than there actually is. In fact, what this seems to me is that since they've started the community-based conservancy over there are more Markhor. They're certainly doubled in the last 8 years. So there's been hunting during that time. So the prescription that trophy hunting is a problem is just not the reality. Whether we like Mr. Harlan and his activities or not, it's not the reality.
And that local community, the management body now has $300,000 American dollars more than they did prior to this because of the 3 Americans that came over.
Yeah. Well, PETA says that doesn't go to wildlife conservation. It says it goes to it's unknown where it goes. Like it goes to maybe the mafia or something.
Sure.
That's what they say.
I do enjoy how these 3 American trophy hunters are right up there with military activities in Pakistan.
And deforestation.
Deforestation.
Yeah, and there's some serious military activities in northern Pakistan.
And poaching and trophy hunting as well.
Yeah.
I mean, there's, this is, again, if you watch the film Trophy, which I believe is on Netflix, so a lot of the similar information is included in that documentary. But the funny thing to me is it's almost bad that they're spending all this money. Like, would it be worse if he didn't spend any money at all?
No, it'd be better.
It'd be better
in the scandal's eye.
In the scandal's eyes, it would be better if he didn't spend any money at all.
That's right.
So if it was like a $10 animal,
if he poached the animal,
if he poached it,
well, yeah, because then if you poached it, you'd just be lumped into the poaching group.
yeah, then that's illegal, and we don't like you either. But
everybody doesn't like you, so we're not going to talk about it.
But think about how much poaching goes on of all kinds of crazy rare animals and whatever. And again, like I said earlier, a poaching story gets no love from the headlines.
Did you see that headline yesterday that in the Philippines they just intercepted a shipment of like 30 tons of pangolin scales?
Whoa.
Okay, so there you go. I'm being wrong. Every now and then, it does.
I found that because I follow some pretty out there like news websites that track this specific kind of shit. I don't think CNN covered that.
Nope.
No,
and that's like serious systemic poaching, multiple millions of dollars.
Listen, at this point, if you Google Markhor, you have the Markhor Wikipedia page, and then the next thing down is Texas from NBC News from 2 hours ago. Texas businessman pays $110,000 to kill rare goat in Pakistan. Like, we can continue to go down and read more of these, but I mean, it certainly is not the Markhor. The plight of the Markhor is not a national news story. I'm sure of that. I have no evidence of like what it's ever been covered before.
Everything I'm reading is they're doing quite well. They've been recently downgraded by the IUCN from endangered past vulnerable to near threatened, which is just above least concern.
Yeah.
And it says that their population trend is increasing.
Again, what PETA doesn't understand of what they're doing there is they're quoting a 2011 number to show how low the population is, but what they didn't realize by that misleading sentence is that what they're doing is proving the opposite of their point. Is that if there's 5,700 of them now, there's 2,500 of them in 2011, and hunting has been allowed during that time, or at least a portion of that time. I don't think all of that time hunting has been allowed.
Hunting is, I think, has only recently
It's been
allowed
within the last 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact number. But.
I do want to be careful, though, as far as like the species of concern language, though, because I'm sure there's some serious milestones in there from verge of extinction, probable extinction. There's probably some real milestones down to all the way down the ladder to species of concern. So near threatened is above least concern. Then it goes vulnerable. So we'll go from least concern. Near threatened is where we're at right now. Vulnerable, endangered, critically endangered, extinct in the wild. Extinct, we'll just call that extirpated worldwide. And I don't see the data here, but we are trending in the Markhor world in the right direction.
Yeah, and here's where I always fall on this kind of thing, because I'm conflicted with quote unquote trophy hunting. But at the end of the day, whether Mr. Harlan went there with bad intentions or not, we don't know unless we ask him. Even if we ask him, he probably wouldn't tell us the truth if he was somehow went there with some bad intentions. The result of his hunt was beneficial to the land on which he hunted. Like we can say that. I could say that honestly, and know that there's facts to back that up. And the equation to me goes: hunting creates value. Value leads to conservation, and conservation leads to the propagation of wild game populations.
Kind of the African model of wildlife conservation.
Yeah, I mean, and again, let me add to that I do feel that some of these countries internationally have taken, have harvested for one of the parts of our hunting culture that will make them the most money. Right? They have exotic animals with big things on their heads, and then they've harvested that culture here that promotes killing rare things with big antlers or horns, and they've said, pay us a lot of money for this thing because we know it's supply and demand. Basically, they're supplying the Markhor, and we're at some level demanding it, and so that's also happening. But regardless of how it's happening, at the end of the day, I'm no Markhor expert, but I feel like there's more Markhor now than there would have been 5 years ago. And that seems to always kind of be the through line of this stuff.
And I think another element of that a lot of, advocates of this wildlife conservation model would point to is because of that monetary value, then there's kind of a cultural appreciation and a cultural opposition to poaching. Like that's what they always point to in Africa, that if nobody cared about these kudu, if they're not valuable, then poachers would probably come in and kill more of them. And because there is value, then there's money for game wardens. There's money for, people that have jobs tracking and supporting hunting efforts. And without that, these animals would likely be poached to extinction. I don't find that as compelling as the North American model of wildlife conservation, but that point is often made.
Well, this is like a misdirection. Nobody's in this deal. They're like, in Pakistan they've got some issues they need to figure out. They're using American dollars to figure them out. But over here we got it figured. We're good to go. Like our model of conservation is not perfect, but it's the best one there is. Mm-hmm. Over Pakistan, less so, but they're definitely using American dollars as their way to figure it out. And in this case, most of the Middle East and in Asia and all over the world, they call those things community-based conservancies. And what they mean by community-based conservancies is the community gets together and says, we'd like to value these animals at a certain number. A lot of times they'll have, in this case, I think they have an auction for a certain number of tags. And this happened to me when I hunted Nepal. They auction off a certain number of tags for an area, a certain designated area where you can hunt these animals, and then select a community or subset of communities where the benefit would then go to. So that the community has impetus to care for the animal because the animal is now brought monetary value back to that community. So that's what they call a community-based conservancy. And most of the time what they'll say is like, these animals, because they don't have value in these places, are seen as, I guess a nuisance would maybe be a good way to put it, at least a competition for livestock, or a quick source of food to be poached. So that's where that comes from. And again, man, you guys can all chime in, but I'm a little conflicted. I feel like it's, again, it works, but is it the perfect way to do it? No, not in my opinion.
Well, several things I've read have said that by and large, hunting for markhor is not legal in Pakistan. It's only under this new paradigm where they auction off a couple tags for an insane amount of money, but locals cannot hunt these animals, which is a little bit bothersome to me because, we're so deeply invested in the North American model where wildlife is the property of the people managed by the state for the benefit of the people. And what you're doing when you buy a hunting license is purchasing the opportunity to claim one specific animal to, buy it from the American citizens who own it. And it's managed by and large, it's managed for opportunity that people in the local communities are the ones who get to have the most opportunity to utilize that resource. And you don't see that exist in Africa or in, Pakistan, other international hunting situations.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with that. Like I said, again, it works, but it seems like quite the Band-Aid for the problem. I mean, we had a problem in this country at the turn of the century, late 1800s, early 1900s, and we prescribed a solution, and it wasn't this one.
Yep. And we did a lot to the local critter population on the premise of depleting competition for livestock.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. But I do think we're going to find a lot as to why did the controversy gain momentum in the first question on the sliding scale.
Yeah, let's get through it. So let's explain the scale, because the scale is something we debated internally, whether we would even include the scale, or whether we needed the scale, or whether the scale mattered at all, or whether it was fun or just kind of like a damaging thing for the actual person we're talking about. But we'll go with the scale, and if the feedback is that we're assholes for having a scale, then maybe we'll get rid of it. But we're going to include it for now. The scale is, there are 5 1 to 10 scales, and those scales would add up to a total score, possible score of 50. And we've added of the final score, we have 5 different ratings that go, if you score from 0 to 10, from 11 to 20, 21 to 30, and so on and so forth. And we'll tell you about exactly what those things are at the end. But we're just going to go through this and score this particular event. See what's up with this thing. To what extent was the individual animal known to the public? 1 is very not known at all, and 10 is famous.
I'd give it a 1.
Solidly a 1.
Cal?
A 1.
We will go with 1.
Yeah, clarify. This can be seen in 2 ways. To what extent was the individual animal known to the public? Species-wise, I say markhor to the general public would be a 1.
Mm-hmm.
And does this individual animal, is this actual individual animal known and named and famous? Also a 1.
Correct.
Yeah, and I was talking to Ranella about this earlier, and he said, he's like, make sure to make the point that in this case, a 1 and a 10 are both used by the media as a negative. If it was well known, if it's got a name and a collar, it's a negative because you killed an animal we all know and love. And if it's a 1, it's very rare, and it's a negative because you've killed something that's very
Killed something that nobody knew about.
Yep, nobody knew about it, and that's why it's bad. Or everyone knew about it, and that's why it's bad.
And that's what I see a lot. It's like, oh my gosh, I've never seen anything like that. That can't be legal.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Oh my God, shooting a rhino can't be legal because it's a rhino. It seems
Because it's on Animal Cracker.
never seen one. So we're solidly on a 1 there, and I think probably rightly so. How imperiled is the species that was killed? This will be an interesting one. 1 being not imperiled at all, say maybe white-tailed deer. 10 being, likely endangered or in that scale. Probably not extirpated because we'd have to be able to hunt it, but would be near endangerment, if that's a word. Yanni, give us your vote, 1 to 10.
Well, I would say that we found out on the scale that it's in near threatened. And the only other one that's less is least concerned. Then it just jumps off the list completely. I don't know. I would give it a
Count.
10 is most imperiled.
Yes.
10, I mean, if we're going off that scale that we looked at, the international wildlife scale,
10 would be
extirpated from the
critically endangered,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because if it was extirpated, you wouldn't have anything to shoot at all.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm gonna give it like a 3, 4.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay. Sam?
When I filled this out earlier, I put it at a 4.
Yeah, I'm going off that scale. I'm going to say it's a 3.5.
Yeah. I would probably go 5, just to make it easy for us, and we'll say 4 is kind of in the middle of where we all landed.
Okay.
4. So we're up to 5.
Who has a pen? So we're actually keeping track here.
We don't have any.
I do not have a
Nobody
pen.
No
This is the
pens.
digital age, bro.
Yeah, man.
We have a printed out piece of paper.
We'll call for a. We do all have printed out piece of paper. Knock on that window. We're gonna get somebody to bring a pen in. Cal, knock on that. Give that window.
I think we
knock
can.
and knock.
I think we'd probably keep it in mind.
Wrap it.
What if
We've
we
only got
what,
5 of
we
these.
can't add?
I got it.
Oh, he's got it.
Okay,
Cal's got it.
next.
So,
On the sliding scale is
to what extent do Americans generally recognize this species as a lovable creature?
It's got to be a 1.
1.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't even look that lovable. I've never seen it as a cartoon.
I don't think it'd be very fun to cuddle with.
No.
Goats are typically associated with satanic rituals and the devil.
Yeah.
Good point, Cal. It's going to be a 1 based on the
Lovability, the cuddle scale.
Lovability factor.
The cuddle scale. So what? So 1. We'll go with 1. That means we have 6
Yep.
total, and we only have 2 left to go. So it's not looking good
very-
for the scandal here. How offensive was the offending photograph or other media?
Pulling up the offending photographs so we can all
Looking
look
at the
it.
offending, and we have a video as
I
well.
don't
We should definitely watch the video.
I was
Yeah.
going to say, do we lump the video in?
Yes, I think it has
Thank
that.
you.
So
Yeah.
turn the
Yeah,
video.
it's
Let's
out
watch
there.
the video, and we'll give a little play-by-play on the video.
So we'll say the offending photograph or associated media.
Associated media, because it could be, who knows, a flip book. You never know. We're going to watch the video. We'll describe to you what's going on. Of course, we'll share this out once. So it starts with a dude with he's going up the hill, has no pack on. He's
The
being
guy's
helped.
pulling him up the cliff.
Yeah, his guides help him. He's definitely struggling. It's like a steep, nasty
Steep
hillside.
hill. So it's a slow motion shot of the bullet impacting somewhere behind the shoulder. They're
Doesn't
dragging up a hill to pose the photo. And then there's a bunch of locals cheering around the dead critter.
A lot of them.
Yeah, a good number of them there. I can't say it's a very flattering video.
It's not a very flattering video, but the photo itself, I'm not seeing any blood. I don't see a tongue lolling out.
If we at Meat Eater shot that same video, though, Giannis Patelis, our Meat Eater producer here, that would have been like a very engaging, romantic scene, don't you think?
I don't know. There's nothing in there that really qualifies as a scene in my world because there's no real scenes. It's like very clippy and fast. It's like a montage. It's like compressing what looks to be like probably 4 to 5 hours into, what is that, 10 seconds long?
30
seconds long. So I don't know. I mean, that is the problem with when you put something out that's so quick, is that there is no context. And so everything can be taken out. And so what it looks like here is that he jumps out of a car, he jumps up 2 boulders, he lays down over his pack, he takes his shot, and the shot moves in slow motion. And then the next thing you know, he's posing with his nice trophy. In actuality, what happened is it probably took the dude 4 days to get to this part of the world. Who knows what kind of environment he then lived and slept in for who knows how many days, because we don't know the full story. But it looks rough and dusty. I don't know how many days they hunted for this animal. I don't know how many sunsets and sunrises he enjoyed. I don't know what kind of relationships he built with all these people that he was out hunting with. There's a lot there that we have no idea about. But again, when it's compressed into 30 seconds, it looks. So I would say really the only thing, but from my point of view, the only thing that looks sort of offensive or offending there is that everybody wants to put the freaking shot into slow motion and see the bullet impact.
Yeah.
Like, who gives a shit about that anymore? It's like, I'm sorry, I just don't get my jollies off of watching that, like the bullet impact and seeing that shockwave go through the animal's body. It's just not good for me. And if I don't really like the look of that, then you can only imagine what not antis, but even non-hunters think when they see that shit.
Good point.
Well, I'm seeing this freeze frame of the grip and grin, and just the country behind him looks staggering.
Unreal.
And I'm like, why can't you do just a quick pan across that? I want to see what those mountains look like.
I went to Nepal and hunted an animal that no one will know about, and we made like a 8 to 10 minute black and white film, and that showed never showed the shot, never showed. We showed the animal dead and the animal being eaten, but it was a tiny little part of the film. The film was about people and place, and so there's nothing to separate this dude other than the fact that he's a rich banker who made a 30-second video with me when I went to Nepal to hunt blue sheep. It's the same.
You guys are pretty similar in that adventure.
O'Reilly Auto Parts are in the business of keeping your car on the road. O'Reilly Auto Parts offer friendly, helpful service and the parts knowledge you need for all your maintenance and repairs. If you're confused about what part you need, like what wipers are going to be the best, what replacement headlights are going to be the best, go into O'Reilly and talk to the people that work there, because they're great and they're super friendly, and they'll get you squared away where you walk out knowing you got the right thing. They've got thousands of parts and accessories in stock, either in-store or online, so you never have to worry if you're in a jam. Do you need your windshield wipers replaced? You need a brake light fixed? You need some quick service? They'll help you find the right part or point you to the nearest local repair shop for help. The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts are your one-stop shop for all things auto do-it-yourself, and you can find what you need in-store or online. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit us at O'ReillyAuto.com/MeatEater. That's O'ReillyAuto.com/MeatEater. You ever get that feeling you're stuck inside staring at screens and a primal urge kicks in? You crave wide open spaces, fresh air, the chance to connect with the land? Well, maybe it's time to find your own piece of the wild, but searching for property can be a maze. That's where Land.com comes in. They got millions of listings across the country, from mountain ranches to hidden fishing holes. Their search tools are like a seasoned guide helping you narrow down what you want. Land.com isn't just about buying and selling. It's about finding a place to hunt, fish, explore, or simply sit by a campfire and listen to the crickets. So head over to Land.com today to turn one day into today, because trust me, there's nothing quite like the feeling of standing on your own piece of earth. There's nothing like snook hook sets at dawn or catching a tarpon in the moonlight. Find your next fishing trip made easy on fishingbooker.com and experience the magic of the Sunshine State or any other destination on your fishing bucket list. Book a blue water adventure in search of sailfish or go snapper fishing with the kids. With over 6,000 captains and trips to choose from, planning your next one just got a whole lot easier. Download the Fishing Booker app on the Google Play or App Store, or visit them online at fishingbooker.com to book your trip today.
So how offensive was the offended photograph or accompanying media? I would, if I can go first, I'm going to only give it I would give it like a 1, except for the slow motion bullshit. So because of that, I'm going to bump it up to a 4.
Do we, should we at this, a 4, nice. Should we bring in a non-hunter and have them?
Yeah. Do we
Right
have one
now
on
or in
hand?
the future?
Right now. Because while you guys keep going, I'll go grab a non-hunter and we'll show them this and see what their reaction is.
Sure.
Okay, continue. Given your number, I'll go find it.
Sam, what do you think?
Medium.
How offensive was that little video and the grip and grin?
You know, you made some good points, and that kind of changed my mind a little bit. I did not find it terribly offensive. I found it to be low quality and slightly tasteless, but not, grossly offensive. But you're right. The gratuitous slow-mo is a little annoying. I'd probably give it a 3.
Ryan Callahan?
I can't even get that high up on the scale. I am going to withhold my judgment until our special guest weighs in. Is that just because I don't want to influence anything?
Don't influence Kylie. Kylie, you got to pull up your microphone so it's a little closer to your mouth.
Okay.
I can hear you. Joining us now is what's your title now, Kylie?
Executive assistant.
Pretty much
CEO.
Office badass that just takes care of everyone's problems around here. We wouldn't be able to function without her.
She's
Kylie.
a real machine.
Who you don't hunt at all?
So I have not, but I do. I've wanted to, and I actually am like ready to go. I just have not actually done it yet.
So you haven't gone on your first hunting trip yet?
Not yet.
Seems like you're relatively cool with it, being that you're
yeah.
employed here.
Yeah, my whole husband's side, everyone, my friends, I grew up with it. I personally haven't done it. It was my goal to be 30 into it, and then that has gone and passed. So
how old are you?
Cal,
I
am 21.
All right, so we're going to show Kylie this video and then get her immediate reaction. All right, what do you think? Was there anything offensive in that video? Was it offensive at all?
You got a scale here, with 1 being absolutely no way, shape, or form offensive, and 10 being I am horrified that ever made it into the public purview.
Yes, I feel like vomiting.
No, but I'm also, to me, that's also hunting. I think I could see where people would see, like when he held up the creature, I think that's where people are like, oh my gosh, it's a pet, it's an animal. For me, that's just hunting. That's exciting. You got something, you hunted it. For me, no, I don't think that's offensive.
But so the way that they portrayed it in that little 30-second video, nothing about the video was offensive to you.
So you
Pretty
would
normal. All right.
pick a number for us, please.
For 10 being the most offensive?
Yes.
Oh, I would say maybe like 2, just because I see that I can see where people would have an issue.
Got it. I'm going to jump in here and say a 1 because this is from my perspective.
Thanks, Kylie.
Thank you, Kylie. Wonderful.
Of offensiveness, and I do not feel offended.
I did not feel offended. I too don't feel offended.
We should have a a field here for how offensive was the mainstream news coverage.
Yeah, I mean that needs to be a part of it. How offensive was the offending photograph? For me, I'm kind of with Kylie on this one. I'd give it a 3 if I was going to give it 1.
So what part of it was just a little bit offensive?
The video, I mean, the slow, like the video plays into all the stereotypes to me. So that's, I think, the awareness level of the hunter and whoever made the video was low, because it doesn't show any of the appreciation for the animal, the appreciation for the land. It doesn't show any appreciation for the death of the animal and how serious that thing is. It shows a dude shooting an animal, it dying in slow motion with a juvenile fucking animal standing right beside it, which, whatever, it is what it is. It was an old, mature animal, so I guess that really doesn't matter. But
I mean, that's how goats live.
yeah.
Like Rocky Mountain goats, you'll see an old Billy with brand new
Yeah. But again, I don't think
Little,
that doesn't matter.
kid
It's-
hanging out.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it doesn't matter. It's hunting. You kill shit that has, offspring. So I think there's just, the offensive part to me is there's a little bit like the self-awareness of this guy doing this, whomever edited that video is pretty low. Like, it shows the first thing after the shot is a high five. And not that you have to cry, but this cut really does play into the hands of the stereotypers out there, I believe.
So Giannis, you were a 4.
Mm-hmm.
Sam, you were a 3.
Yes.
Myself, I was a 1. I'm sticking to it. Kylie,
We're going to go with Kylie on this one, man.
she said 2. Ben, you said 3.
Yeah.
So
We can go
3, right?
Yeah, we can go 3. 3 is good. So right now we're really low. We went, to what extent was the individual animal known to the public? We said 1.
I think we're at 9.
Yeah. How impaired was the species that was killed? We ended up with, a 4 there?
Correct.
Correct. 5. To what extent the marginalized species? 1. So that's 5. And 3 is 6. 3 is 9. You're correct, Yanni. So far we're at 9. The last but not least in our ratings is, how aware was the hunter that this might create a giant shitstorm? This is an impossible one, not having talked to the hunter, to know. But we can take a look at the evidence and the empirical evidence and figure out what we think. And again, like, there was some examples. What was the example, Sam, that we used of somebody that was clearly aware that the dude was hunting a named critter and said, "I'm going to go." Pedals the bear.
Pedals the bear.
There was a hunter hunting in, was that New Jersey?
Yeah.
Somewhere on the East Coast. Pedals the bear. And there's a guy in some message boards and on the internet, social media, saying, "I'm going to kill Pedals. I'm going to go get Pedals." Like, this dude would have been a 10. He was aware, wanted to create a giant shitstorm, and was throwing the middle finger to everybody that loved Pedals. So that would kind of be the 10. And the 1 in this case would be, the guy was just doing illegal hunting activity and was going about his business and had no knowledge that it would had any possibility to create any kind of media backlash, as this one has. Yanni, kick us off on this one.
I want to give him a 1, but I just thought better of it, because these days, with the current state of media, if you go overseas on a very expensive hunt for some animal that most people don't know about, and you put as part of your story, your experience on the internet, anytime you do that, you have to be somewhat aware that it could possibly create a shitstorm. So I'm going to give him a 2.
Yep. I can see that. Sam?
Yeah, that's about where I'd land on it. And he's absolutely right. This day and age, you're walking that line if you're going to go do this kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think we will probably find, if we can keep this ball rolling on the hunting scandal assessment chart, I bet we do find a situation where there's a truly blissfully unawares person out there, but I don't think this fella's in that category. But 2 is where I would land, just because if we're saying 1 is like absolutely, totally unaware.
Yeah.
Totally, you'd have to be ignorant to this whole social media world around you. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll start by saying, like, this isn't the last we're going to, like, I think because we've recorded this and had this kind of discussion, it bears for us as a team and probably me individually to go and do some more research on this and continue to, check themeateater.com, check social media, and we'll continue to talk about this just so we can kind of answer some of the questions we have at this point. But that is how these scandals go. Like, a story breaks, it goes to national news, and then we find ourselves asking a bunch of legitimate questions that we don't have the answers to. So I think just because we've elevated this particular one, we'll continue to answer those questions. But I agree. I think this dude went over there thinking he was doing a good thing. That would be my guess. In all this, I think he was going over there convinced that his money was going to a good experience for him and a positive for the community where he was hunting. I can't be sure of it without asking him specifically, but I'm pretty sure that's the case, given who he was with. I know who he was with. So, how aware was the hunter that this might create a giant shitstorm? Yep, 2 is what I would say. So I think that gets us to a total of 11 out of a possible 50.
Well, it's actually a possible 60 because behind was the activity legal if you're illegal when you do this activity, you add 10 points to the final score.
That's true. So a possible 60 if you were
Theoretical.
Yeah, theoretically a possible 60. We built that.
I don't want to see what a 60 looks like.
I don't want to know anything.
I feel like a 60 is going into a zoo at night.
I bet the bad ones are going to be real bad all across the
like
board.
You threw a grenade into the whale tank at the fucking SeaWorld.
Please, we're not challenging you.
No. And none of those things aren't hunting. So let me go through quickly the rating for the hunting scandal assessment chart. We'll start with the lowest. If you score from 0 to 10, we say there's nothing to see here. Succinct. If you're in there in the 11 to 20 range, raised eyebrows, but let it go. 21 to 30, this is why we can't have nice things. 30-day Instagram suspension for the offender. 31 to 40, we say do not pass go and return to hunter safety class. You bastards. 41 to 50, bad idea. The offender should quietly walk away from hunting. What do you think about that? Those scores, fellas?
I'm going to make a motion on the table to just downgrade this to there's nothing to see here.
Yeah, we have an 11 here, which would be like raised eyebrows, but let it go.
I mean, my raised eyebrows are in the attention that this has received, not in
the
aggregate activities here.
Cal makes a motion to the group.
I agree.
To get this down to there's nothing to see here. Do we all agree?
Agreed.
I agree. I think there's nothing to see here. This dude is not evil, in my opinion. He very much was doing what he believed, I think, to be a good thing. Again, I'm making a lot of assumptions there. There's a lot of assumptions in this conversation. And coming days, we'll add as much detail to this as we possibly can, if we can. Who knows if we will be able to. But some people might Yanni, what do you think about if we use this, if we go forward with this scoring system, what do you think about this 41 to 50 being the offender should quietly walk away from hunting? You feel like we're being mean?
No, and I feel like some people are probably sitting there here as they're listening to this, they're going to say, man, you're just passing judgment. I think we tried very hard not to do that and take it from a very objective point of
and if
view,
there's anybody
right?
out there that thinks hunters aren't judging each other, boy, you're missing the boat.
But I want to say that's why I like 31 to 50, which is do not pass go and return to hunter safety class. All of us, I think, in our community of 11 million or whatever we are now in this country, agree that what you are taught there in that class is pretty straightforward, simple, basic, like how you should go about doing it as you go. First for safety, and then there's also some ethics that are usually taught in those classes. And if you're going to score this high on that chart, you're obviously just breaking those like very basic, rules and guidelines that we set and that we teach kids as young as, 6 and 7 these days, and that all of us should be going through. So, again, not trying to pass any kind of judgment. It's just like real basic shit about how, you don't point a gun at somebody, and I don't know. You shouldn't be.
We haven't. Did we find any? We went through this when we were doing this to try to see if any situation would get to the 41 to 50, which is quietly walk away from hunting. And I don't think we got there, did we?
I think we did with the Pedals the Bear guy.
Pedals the Bear guy was the one thing that was like, with the information we have here, this person, while legally, hunting, we believe to be legally hunting this bear, did it in such a way that would hurt us all, intentionally. And we felt like that was,
I think with Cecil the Lion, he landed on the do not pass go, the 31 to 40.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there where wasn't illegal, wasn't really asking for it, but God damn did it hurt us as a society.
Yeah. Yep, and I think this goes to one thing that I've been thinking about lately and some of the stuff that's happened around here is this is like we have to leave room. We can't be so rigid in our ideas that we don't leave room for criticism. Like we got to leave room for someone to criticize within our community, criticize what we do, or from without criticize what we do. And the issue we have with this is that the people that are from without are the criticism is totally unfounded, not researched, and not valid, in my opinion. I'm happy to take on valid criticism of a Markhor hunt if it's researched and done well. But when the PETA criticism comes across the board and it's full of just untruths and half truths and literally.
Well, and not only PETA. I mean, we know that PETA is like they see something like this and they're like, "Oh, by golly!"
Well, thank you, fella.
Yeah, fucking Christmas in February.
Yeah,
but like CNN and some of the other outlets that you mentioned, it's like in this day and age, we're all really looking for some people that can say that we're doing good journalism.
Yeah,
and giving you the facts. And that's why I was so happily surprised when we read that first article you had up that was from the Pakistani.
And I don't know that it's like dawn.com. Let me go and find it. I want to make sure we're crediting them correctly.
Wherever it came from, it was an article that somehow managed. It was so like uplifting when I read it because somehow they just said what happened.
Maybe we can chalk that up to some sort of a language barrier.
We very well could.
Yeah.
But there was no judgment as to what, right or wrong. It's just like, hey,
yeah, I mean, it's
something you might want to know about.
It's clear that I talked to the writer here Instagram message with the writer of the CNN story, and he felt that he practiced good journalism. I think he's dead ass wrong.
He should be ashamed of himself to call himself a journalist.
Slander. This is like close to slander, and he clearly had prejudged the person and had a bias against hunting when writing this piece. Like it is clear. I mean, he goes as far as to say that
his first line says that we sparked outrage.
Yeah,
and yet,
and who?
Right now, you can Google the internet and you can't find the outrage that he speaks of.
Yeah, and he says, and he quotes PETA, and then ends that sentence with, "While some Pakistanis called for a ban on hunting such animals." That right there. Which Pakistanis? Who? Are they credible? Are they not? Who called for somebody from Pakistan a comment you read on Facebook?
All the Pakistani news sites I've looked at have not seemed to care a whole lot about this.
Yeah. I mean, it is manufactured outrage. And the outrage cycle, and I think it's laziness only because this writer knows that this will get clicks. He knows it will do his job to bring in traffic to his org. So he cares less about, he knows the headline will get it done. So he cares less about the facts within. Like that's clear. And if it's insane to me that this person doesn't have a little bit more of a moral compass and a little bit more caring about is the folks that are his readers. Like it's insane to me. And like that goes back to the problem. that we're talking about. So the original article that Yanni was referencing is dawn.com. And I don't think it's a newspaper out of Pakistan, but it covers Pakistan. And it, again, like you said, that's just basically what it says. I think this is probably our friend right now. I'm going to step out and talk to this guy who set the hunt up. I'll be right back. All right. Well, as we kind of round this out here, we actually were able to talk to. We took a little podcast break. We were able to talk to a young man named Greg Brownlee, who is a part of Neal and Brownlee, which is a booking agency we talked about earlier. Greg has been to Pakistan, was there in 2014, and has guided and booked hunts for Mr. Harlan, who we spoke of with the Markhor hunt. So he was actually in Tajikistan with some clients, flying back. It was nice enough to chat for about 10 minutes about this situation. So we wanted to clarify a few things we learned from Greg, and then also maybe in the future we'll be able to talk to Mr. Harlan, the hunter. So we'll, again, check themedia.com. We'll add some more color to this as we go, as it seems relevant. But anybody have any reaction to that conversation we just had with Greg?
No, I think it just supports what we were saying, really.
Yeah, I think it really did. Most of what he said supported exactly what we thought. We asked him just for a little personal color on Brian Harlan, and only good things. A conscientious hunter, somebody who spoke with the Pakistani media during the hunt and was talking about conservation and the money where this money would go and how it would benefit. So
yeah, and he made it sound like these hunts are celebrated by local Pakistanis.
Yeah.
He added an additional level to this, that the Markhor truly are valueless to local Pakistanis without this hunting involved. He said they'd rather shoot a Markhor than one of their own goats.
Yep.
$10 goat.
$10 goat.
Yeah, like without the value of hunting, that these goats are worthless. These Markhor are worthless when compared to a $10 goat, which is livestock.
Because they compete for grazing
Yeah.
in a pretty rugged environment with not a whole lot of grass, it looks like. Hardy.
Yeah.
And he was saying when he did the similar hunt, they had 300 locals come and see the animal when they brought it off the mountain, and people were cheering and celebrating the size of the animal that their local ecosystem produced.
But kind of in a attempt to say, like, get in on the action and possibly sway the hunter to return and hunt in their area, or go hunt in their area now.
Yeah, they want we would love these funds to be contributed to our community, so we're trying to raise and protect these animals to make them bigger, so the trophy hunter will want to come. And and like I said, that goes back to what we were talking about earlier. That's a conflicting reality for me.
Mm-hmm.
But Greg just sent me a little more information. We were talking about like the Kashmir Markhor, which is one of the 3 subspecies that are over there that are huntable. He basically said that Kashmir Markhor saw its population in this once game-rich area dwindle to 30 individuals by the early 90s due to uncontrolled poaching and competition with local livestock. The Markhor had no value in the eyes of local Pakistanis. Realizing that something needed to be done, local leaders decided to set up a protected game reserve for the Markhor and moved out all domestic livestock. In a few short years, funding was drying up, and it was impossible to find in this rural area of Pakistan, where the average salary is $5 a week. They decided to auction a single permit to hunt a male Markhor, with 80% of the proceeds going directly to funding anti-poaching and protection of the animals in the game reserve. The plan worked, and the population steadily began to increase as many local people started to see the value in the Markhor. Today, the population is upwards of 1,300 animals in the Tushi GR game reserve, with a total of 5 hunting permits per year, and other areas are beginning to create conservancies of their own in an attempt to grow the population. And again, he references that these permits are $100,000 each. So that's the reality on the ground, like it or don't. That's what's happened there. Those are the facts from somebody who's hunted there. Greg had hunted there in 2014 and was a part of some of the beginnings of these game reserves, becoming, really truly funded by American trophy hunters or international trophy hunters, I guess, to say. So that's that. Anybody have any closing thoughts on what we've done here, what we're trying to do, the complex nature of all this business?
It just seems so arbitrary that this particular thing was seized upon, as it often does when these scandals arise. It's like, how did you pick this one? How's this guy any worse than the other 3 guys who shot Markhor in the same spot in Pakistan?
Highest dollar amount.
Yeah, it is
$5,000 more than the other.
If I'm the dude from CNN, I'm like, wait, 100,000, 105,000, 115,000. Let's go with that guy.
I just gotta wonder if he didn't hear about the other ones. This one just randomly came across his sphere, and he's like, "Oh, I bet that'd piss off a bunch of people."
Well,
and I need something to write about today.
Yeah, I mean, as a hunter, you have a choice, right? To let this kind of scare you. Like, if you're the guy who went over here and cracked the Markhor, you have a couple of things. Like, you can hunt, and a lot of these guys will not allow their identities to be put out there. That, like, if somebody wants to share a photo of them, the animal, you got to blur their face. That you'll see that a lot in these high dollar trophy hunting circles. So, like, you have it. Like, is this scary for this guy? Like, I'm sure getting death threats. And I'm going to attempt to talk to him and just kind of see what's up.
I just read through all the Facebook comments on that video, and there were death threats in there.
Yeah. And so, I from talking to Greg and getting some color on this guy, like he really truly thinks that he's doing a good thing with his money. And by the numbers, he is. Whether you think, whatever you think of this activity, the numbers say that he is doing a good thing. So, I would admit to being a bit conflicted. How does this really make hunters look? But at the end of the day, I would side with the dude who spent all his money, hard-earned money, to go towards conservation. It's hard for me to argue against that.
Yeah, as long as you can look at Markhor as a species and not the individual Markhor named Billy, then it's a plus for the species. They're going to do better without Billy overall in the long run than with Billy by having Brian take him home.
Yep, you're right about that. Cal, give us a very deep closing thought.
No pressure.
Or shallow. It can be shallow.
Yeah,
I'm not going to judge you.
You could say Markhors are pretty.
You're going to book your Markhor hunt tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a bizarre thing because for me, like that, it may as well be like a Dr. Seuss type animal, right? So it's, I know they exist. I've heard about them before. I've read about accounts of folks going over there. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a departure from home until you kind of break it down to, hunter goes through some sort of license fee, pays for the opportunity to, try to take old Billy home. But it's I'm more offended by the sensational nature of how things are portrayed. Like, we can't give people enough credit to come to their own conclusions. So we want to nudge them a little bit. And in this writer's defense, maybe his sounding board is just a straight up easily insulted type of person. He said, "Hey, what do you think about this?" I'm like, "Oh my God, worst thing ever." And then he's like, headline: people enraged by a man paying $110,000 for Markhor.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Not that this particular thing, this is happening so often now that this particular thing shouldn't be surprising or it's not real special and it's in what's happened, but it's happening. So we need to assess it.
Officially, nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here, folks.
On the Hunting Scandal assessment chart.
So we'll put this Hunting Scandal assessment chart on the MeatEater.com. You go over there and you click on that son of a bitch and you print it out and you do it with your friends. Get serious or don't.
Best possible thing you could do is print that thing out invite a couple of your non-hunting friends over and go through that chart together. Be a good eye-opening, good conversation amongst friends, I would think.
It would.
That's
I
right. Go
agree.
have a conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have a conversation. It's a good way to close it. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it. That's all. We're done. We're done. Another hunting collective in the books. Thank you again to Ryan Callahan, Sam Lundgren, and Giannis Patelis for taking the time to crack through this with me and filling out our hunting sandal assessment chart and talking through what is a complex and difficult happening in our world. So it was, to me, just a little bit cathartic to talk it through with some folks. And again, I think the hunting community is less concerned with these scandals, but the non-hunting community sees them on news outlets, and it's covered in the mainstream, and it's pretty consistent. So it's something that we need to address, and hopefully this is the beginning of a long conversation about how we address these things, and if there is a problem, how we can solve it together in a constructive way. So hopefully this discussion helped with that. We do take it seriously, even though we have sometimes our tongues firmly planted in cheek. This is something we do consider to be, fairly serious. What else? Oh, thank you to everyone who came out to Reno, Nevada and Sacramento, California to the first two shows of the live tour for the Meat Eater podcast. I was able to join Callahan and Patelis and Ranella and Remy Warren and Gray Thornton from Wild Sheep while we were in Reno. And it was amazing. It was my first time being on stage for podcasts like this, and to meet the thousands or so of folks that showed up, to hear you laugh and cheer during the recording. Man, it was rewarding for me. So I'm happy that I was able to do it. Happy that Steve Ranella has created a platform such as that one, and is graciously had me be a part of it. And it was, to meet everyone, for young and old, to meet everyone and hear your experiences with our content, man, is inspiring, and we're going to do it more and better and continue to promote what we feel like is the right conversation, the right experience with hunting, fishing, and the like. So thank you again. It means a lot to us. There's more dates for the live tour. If you go to themeateater.com and click on events, there's more dates. There's more tickets available all around the country, from Seattle to Kalamazoo, Michigan, to Dallas to Houston. I will be at the Boise show at the BHA Rendezvous on stage, and I will also, if we end up doing one in Austin, Texas, I will be there and on stage for that one as well, if you were wondering. Beyond that, go to themeateater.com, do all the things over there as well. Sign up for the newsletter, go to the store. There's a lot of gear there for you to purchase if you'd like to, and we hope you would like to. That's it for now. Again, thank you for tuning in. Thanks for being a part of this conversation. Come get in contact with us if you have any critiques of the hunting scandal assessment chart or anything we had to say today. We're happy to read it. Bye.
You ever get that feeling the walls closing in, the concrete jungle suffocating you? You crave some wide open spaces, the chance to connect with nature, maybe in a spot all your own. Well, head over to land.com. They've got ranches, forests, mountains, streams, you name it. Search by acreage. You can search by location. You can search by the kind of hunting and fishing you're dreaming of. Land.com. It is where the adventure begins. Hey guys, turkey season is in full swing right now, and if you are planning on getting after it, make sure to pick up some Meat Eater Phelps turkey calls to stuff into the old turkey vest or into your fanny pack right now. I carry a few different things. I like to use mouth calls, and I like to use pot calls. Mouth calls or diaphragms, I like them because it gives you hand-free calling, meaning when you're working a bird up close, you can have your gun on your knee, finger on the trigger, ready to roll, and still be making turkey sounds. I like pot calls. I just like pot calls. I enjoy calling with a pot call. Whatever direction you go, including a box call, which I don't personally use too much, but they're fun and great, and I started out with them. Yanni, on the other hand, one of my main turkey hunting buddies, he loves box calls. And what's funny is I'll now and then look to him and give him the look that means get out your box call and find us a turkey. So it's not that I don't like him. I just have Yanni use his. Then I don't have to carry it. Go to Phelps Game Calls. Get calls that are made in the USA and get calls that'll get them close. Find yours at phelpsgamecalls.com today.